Coconut Grove nightclub fire, the Great Plague of 1918, the fateful voyage of the Morro Castle, the Hindenburg disaster. Famous American disasters makes history come alive.
You are about to take an impossible voyage, to go back in time. It is May the 6th, 1937. The largest flying object ever created by man is on its way to Lakehurst, New Jersey. A voyage that will end in disaster. You will experience 34 agonizing seconds as the giant airship is destroyed. You will meet some of the men and women who survived and the ones who died. And you will also meet a young radio announcer who tried to tell a shocked nation.
This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world.
How did it happen? We can take you there, make you fellow travelers. We can look for answers. You can be there now, on this, the last voyage of the Hindenburg, ship of doom. Our voyage begins in Friedrichshafen, Germany. It is twilight, May the 4th, 1937. Readied for departure. Canvas, aluminum, thin wire, 3 football fields long, filled with 7 million cubic feet of hydrogen, the most flammable gas known to man. The passengers prepare to embark. The official passenger list, a chance grouping of 65 men and women. Who are they? We join them as eyewitness reporters, search for clues about this catastrophe. Moritz Feibusch, businessman, American, successful. The Donor family, Germans, for the 3 children, their first trip to the United States. Leonard Adelt, a German writer, and his wife, Gertrude. Miss Margaret Mather of Connecticut and Rome, a world traveler. The ship they are about to board has all the comforts of the most expensive ocean liners and is safer even than the Titanic. Into whose hands have they entrusted their safety? Captain Max Pruss, experienced airship man, but in command of the Hindenburg for the first time. Chief Engineer Sauter, proud of the new emerging German spirit, a Nazi. Chief Steward Kubis, his passenger's comfort is his life. And Captain Ernst Lehmann, usually in command, but on this flight relegated for some reason to an observer. 7:15 p.m., liftoff time approaches. Aboard the Hindenburg, the promenade deck is empty. Security is tight. German High Command has received detailed warnings of sabotage, threats that the Hindenburg will be blown up on this trip. Luftwaffe Colonel Fritz Erdmann, assigned as special security officer. Nothing must happen to the Hindenburg, the pride of Nazi Germany. 7:30 p.m. The passengers are allowed onto the promenade deck. A military band plays the German national anthem.
Isn't it sweet? The band is playing a hymn.
Oh, no, that is not a hymn. That is the German national anthem.
Nonsense. I've sung it in church 100 times.
No, my husband's right. It is our national anthem.
Well, I don't pay attention to anthems, but I do like hymns. For me, this is a hymn.
7:35 p.m. The ground crew awaits the final signal. Exactly on schedule, the Hindenburg is released and begins to rise.
think we have lifted off.
We have. My God, I didn't even notice. Oh, please.
Well, I should think this calls for a drink. Champagne!
The Hindenburg has already successfully made the Atlantic run 12 times. The captain for this 13th crossing is Max Pruss, the new choice of the Nazi regime. The Hindenburg is almost 3 times as fast as a transatlantic liner. Just how long will the trip take?
We will be cruising at about 85 miles per hour, about as fast as a good car. So the trip should take 60 hours. We may be delayed by headwind, so it could take 70 or so. We will follow the Rhine and the French coast of the English Channel. We will not fly over England. For some reason, the British do not want us flying over their soil.
Across the ocean in 3 days. It doesn't seem possible. This time Thursday we'll be in the States,
For Moritz Feibusch, this trip will be a great story for his international business associates and for Miss Mather's stay-at-home Yankee relatives.
Look, not a tremor. We might as well be on the ground. It's almost 2 still. You wonder if you're having an adventure at all.
Adventure, romance. That was the history of lighter-than-air travel. It was a German, Count Zeppelin, they called him the crazy old count, who had the idea that gas, lighter than air, could carry a boat, and the boat could be sailed through the clouds and change the face of air travel. He found men to share his dream, men like the young Ernst Lehmann.
Count Zeppelin first noticed me because I liked to race yachts. I was good at it. That was the sort of man that was attracted to airships in those days. Yacht racers, pilots, daredevils, you know.
But the German Empire embarked on war in 1914, and Zeppelins, as everyone now called them, began to be used as weapons for aerial bombardment. Ernst Lehmann himself commanded airships that bombed London, the first aerial attacks on civilian populations. Zeppelins became sinister symbols of destruction. They would never be thought of as toys again.
But it is always so, nicht wahr? That in war, inventions are made which flower in the times of peace. But now it is not war. Airships now are meant to bring people together, not to separate them. I go now to America to discuss forming an international company to fly airships. Cooperation. For this, the Hindenburg was built.
For men like Captain Lehmann, the great Zeppelins are the wave of the future. Not mere means of transport, they are cathedrals of the air. Through German skill, industrial ingenuity, and craftsmanship, a dream is made to fly. The dream is based on hydrogen, a flammable gas, lighter than air, which lifts the enormous craft into the sky. There is another gas which can lift these giants, helium. Safe, effective, completely non-flammable. America owns virtually all the world's helium. Distrusting the Nazi regime, she will not sell it. The Germans are forced to use hydrogen, which can explode and burn in a second, turning the dream into a nightmare. May the 4th, 9 p.m. Dinner, the first meal aboard. The Hindenburg has been aloft now for 4 hours. Above the passengers' heads, a 7 million cubic foot time bomb keeps them in the air. Are they all unaware of the fragile nature of their craft? Have any of them been alerted to the threat of sabotage? Has any person aboard been told the real identity of their fellow passenger, Luftwaffe Colonel Fritz Erdmann, Special Security Officer?
No, you see, we have no wish to alarm anyone. There is no reason for alarm. You see, I am in civilian clothes. For now, I am a tourist. Yeah, this is a splendid cruise, yeah? Of course, one must take precautions. The baggage was thoroughly searched on boarding. It always is. The X-ray machine is new, and just for this trip, we have had to curtail trips into the ship's interior. This is unfortunate, but, yeah.
What has Erdmann learnt? Does he suspect one of these passengers? Has someone planted a bomb? Captain Lehmann, who has been alerted to the threat, publicly expresses no fear for the safety of the Hindenburg.
I know it to be safe, but... well, my wife was talking to a gypsy woman. The woman said, "Your husband is an airshipman. Tell him not to go on this next trip. I see the ship burning. Burning." Every trip has such a gypsy woman, no? And for 34 trips now across the sea, she has been wrong. That is not a good record. No, I put my faith in Max Pruss. I'm sure we will have an enjoyable trip.
6:45 a.m., the first breakfast. Hot rolls, eggs, coffee, chocolate. If there were anything wrong aboard this ship, Chief Steward Heinrich Kubus would sense it. For 25 years, the meticulous Kubus has been seeing to the needs, the safety, the comfort of Zeppelin passengers.
For the passengers, we have the dining room, of course, the lounge, the promenade deck, a little writing room, and the smoking room. We carry 250 bottles of the best wine, and of course I will make a cocktail, martini, Manhattan, whatever you like. The dinner menu varies every night. Tonight there is the cream soup Hamilton, a grilled sole, the venison cutlet Beauvais, very nice. Ah, guten Morgen.
Who are the people Kubus serves? The elite, the influential, the international set. At a cost of $400, close to the price of a new car in 1937, the Hindenburg is a very luxurious form of travel.
Of course, there are special inconveniences in airship travel. Weight. We have a very small baggage allowance. Very small, it seems, to some ladies. And smoking. Streng verboten everywhere but in the smoking lounge. All matches and lighters we take away on boarding. Sad, but necessary. There must be rules, and they must be followed. So you see, an amazing achievement. We carry this explosive hydrogen gas, but we see to it that all is perfectly safe. Perfectly safe.
Safe? Maybe. In fact, the history of lighter-than-air travel is littered with disasters. Other countries copy the German craft, and their ships go down. The French and British flying hydrogen explode and burn. The Americans flying helium twist in windstorms and break up. But now, with nearly 1 million passenger miles logged since 1900, the Germans can claim not a single fatality. Can this perfect record last? The odds are against them. 3 p.m., May the 5th. The second day out over the Atlantic, the Hindenburg continues on its course. Captain Pruss is on the bridge. One of the great Daimler-Benz diesels is not running smoothly. The captain is not worried, but Chief Engineer Sauter and his crew are alerted. The captain wants no sudden alteration of his ship to disturb the passengers. They have not come on the Hindenburg for discomfort. Why have they come? Some for speed, some for comfort, some perhaps for more urgent reasons. And Miss Margaret Mather?
I suppose I could have taken a liner, but I hate them. What's the use of a perfectly lovely steamship voyage if you're miserably seasick all the time? I flew from Paris to Frankfurt. I do love flying, but not in those nasty closed-up planes, which I suppose are the wave of the future. I like the old planes with open cockpits, the wind in your hair. Some people say airships are already outdated. Airplanes will be so much faster, but they'll never be so pleasant.
p.m. Wednesday. Headwinds are delaying the Hindenburg, but Captain Preuss still hopes to make his arrival at dawn tomorrow. The Hindenburg's destination, Lakehurst, New Jersey. The hangar is among the world's largest buildings, yet barely large enough to hold the Hindenburg. From there, U.S. Navy Commander Charles E. Rosendahl, Rosie to his friends, supervises the Zeppelin landings.
Liftoff was at 1945 Central Europe time. That's right, sir.
Rosendahl is perhaps America's most experienced and dedicated airshipman, but there are no longer any American airships he can fly. A series of tragedies has canceled all of the U.S. Navy's lighter-than-air programs. There were few more horrifying than this freak accident. The USS Akron is suddenly pulled aloft by a gust of wind, snatching 3 sailors into the air. 2 fall to their deaths. Only 1 survives, clinging desperately to the rope. Rosendahl himself was navigator of the Shenandoah, the pride of the Navy's airship fleet, when it broke up and split into 3 parts in a wild storm over Ohio. Rosie managed to sail the nose section to a safe landing, but many friends and crew members were killed. The Navy has now grounded all of their airships. All that is left for Rosie is to oversee the German landings at Lakehurst. Morning, May 7th. Behind schedule, the Hindenburg has not yet sighted land.
Oh, look! We saw icebergs this morning. Beautiful. All green and blue. Icebergs always make me think of the Titanic, which went down right in these waters we're flying over. 1 or 2 people aboard that ship were acquaintances of my family. Makes you feel quite safe, doesn't it? Looking down on them.
A wet, blustery day at Lakehurst. An American Airlines DC-3 lands. Recently, American has set up a connection between Chicago and Lakehurst. The plane has brought a young reporter named Herb Morrison. He is escorted to the observation tower. Morrison has a radio program in Chicago and will report the Hindenburg's landing. He receives a briefing from Commander Rosendahl.
Commander Rosendahl, it's Mr. Morrison from NBC.
Commander Rosendahl, it's a pleasure to meet you. Is there any news on the arrival of the Hindenburg?
Well, I've just had a wire from Captain Preuss. They're approaching New York City.
The nearby storms have Commander Rosendahl concerned. It was just such a piece of wild American weather which destroyed the Shenandoah.
Wish the heli could come in right now. I've got a squall line moving around south-southwest. So, excuse me.
2:55 p.m. The Hindenburg finally arrives over Manhattan, 9 hours late. Zeppelin commanders land their craft at dawn or dusk. At such times, the air is usually least turbulent, and landings are smoother. Though he could easily fly to Lakehurst in an hour, Max Preuss prefers to delay until the traditional landing at dusk.
Like trying to figure it.
From past experience, he believes he will have a better chance of encountering stable weather conditions. Although at that time, Lakehurst may be in the heart of a squall. He chooses to fill the time by taking his passengers on a guided tour of New York City. Times Square, where Paul Muni is starring in The Good Earth this week, and the newsreel theaters are showing scenes of the war in Spain. On its maiden flight, the Hindenburg stopped traffic and had people cheering and waving all along the length of Manhattan. But New Yorkers can become blasé about anything. On this fateful day, it's business as usual as the Hindenburg passes. 4 p.m., Captain Preuss turns east over Brooklyn. At Ebbets Field, the Dodgers are on their way to a 9-5 victory over league-leading Pittsburgh. The first time the Hindenburg floated over the field, the game was stopped so people could watch. But not today. 4:15 p.m. Leaving Manhattan, Preuss heads west towards his final destination. At Lakehurst, a thunder shower moves closer. Rosendahl watches lightning flash in the sky to the south and the west. Over rain-wet New Jersey, the Hindenburg comes in from the north. 4:45 p.m. Excitement mounts. Passengers prepare to land. Security Officer Erdman is watchful. His job is not over. Not yet. At last, Lakehurst, the end of the journey. Passengers can glimpse friends and family below. But a sudden shower forces Proust to change direction. The Hindenburg veers off to ride out the weather. Because of the delay, there will be no leave for the crew. They will have dinner on board, and the Hindenburg will start its return flight at dawn. Restless, bored, expectant, the passengers wait. 7:03 p.m. Conditions are finally acceptable for landing. The ground crew is summoned.
All right, this is it. Let's go.
7:07 p.m. Herb Morrison begins his broadcast.
Well, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. We're out now outside of the hangar, and what a great sight it is. A thrilling one. It's a marvelous sight. It's coming down out of the sky, pointed directly towards us. And last minute preparations are being completed for the moment we have waited for so long. The crew, the passenger properly lining the windows, looking down the field ahead of them. Come on, where you can see us.
The landing ropes dropped, the engines cut. No one who saw the Hindenburg go down could believe that anyone could survive. Yet there were astonishing stories of escape. Miss Margaret Mather pulled her coat over her head and waited. She heard a voice call, "Come out." She walked out the way she had come in. Death chose cruelly whom it would take. Mrs. Dillner escaped with her 2 boys. But her daughter Irene was trapped on board. She burned to death. Gertrude and Leonard Adelt leapt from the windows of the promenade deck. He collapsed. Gertrude pulled him up, and they left the burning ship hand in hand. Incredibly, of the 91 men, women, and children aboard, only 36 lost their lives. Chief Steward Kubis.
All is perfectly safe. Perfectly safe.
Kubis was completely unharmed. Captain Ernst Lehmann.
Tell him not to go on this next trip. I see the ship burning. Burning.
Died of burns 2 days later. Captain Max Proust leapt safely from the gondola.
We should arrive at Lakehurst, New Jersey Naval Air Station at approximately...
Turning back to save his radio man, he was terribly burnt, but survived.
Crossed the ocean in 3 days. It doesn't seem possible.
Moritz Feibusch died. Nobody knows how. Colonel Erdmann, Special Security Officer.
No, you see, we have no wish to alarm anyone. There is no reason for alarm.
Apparently escaped the passenger deck, only to be caught in the melting girders. He died. In 34 seconds, it was all over. The largest flying object ever created by man was totally destroyed. What happened? What ignited the gas? A flash of lightning, a structural flaw, a snapped wire, some chance spark, or was there someone aboard willing to die to destroy the Hindenburg, the pride of Nazi Germany? These questions will always be asked, but the answers may never be known. The Hindenburg was gone, and with its passing, the great age of the airships ended forever. But the tragedy captured on film and the unanswered questions have etched in our minds forever the disaster of the Hindenburg, ship of doom.
Famous American Disasters is a fully illustrated book containing the complete stories on which these programs are based. Order your copy by calling 1...